Welcome to Biggest Spoilars, the destination for exclusive spoilers, latest updates.
In Port Charles, truth is rarely pure. It is filtered through fear, loyalty, guilt, and desperation. This week on General Hospital, that truth is baptized in deception as a single act, quiet, calculated, and devastating, alters the future of an unborn child and forever changes the lives of everyone connected to Portia Robinson. What begins as a moment of hope quickly descends into betrayal, as Britt crosses an irreversible line, manipulating DNA evidence and rewriting the identity of Portia's baby's father. Encouraging words give way to furious confrontations, whispered prayers are replaced with threats, and the fragile illusion of control collapses under the weight of consequences. This is not just a medical scandal. This is a moral reckoning. For weeks, Portia Robinson has lived in emotional limbo. Pregnant, frightened, and uncertain, she stands at the edge of motherhood with questions that refuse to quiet. The biggest question of all hangs heavy in her chest: who is the father of her child? Curtis Ashford. Isaiah Gannon. Two men. Two very different futures. Portia tells herself that the DNA test will be her baptism, a cleansing moment where confusion ends and truth begins. She clings to encouraging words from friends who promise that honesty, no matter how painful, is always better than uncertainty. All that matters is the truth, she repeats to herself. She has no idea how cruel those words are about to become. Britt is no stranger to moral compromise. She has lived her life walking the thin line between brilliance and recklessness, ambition and self-destruction. Once a respected physician, now a woman fighting to reclaim her identity, Britt is desperate for validation, and for control. Helping Portia feels like redemption. But redemption is complicated. When Britt gains access to the DNA results, she sees more than data. She sees consequences, legal, emotional, and explosive. She sees how the truth could destroy lives, destabilize relationships, and put Portia in danger. And worst of all, she sees how the truth could benefit people who don't deserve it. In that moment, Britt convinces herself she's protecting Portia. That lie becomes her baptism into betrayal. Alone with the test results, Britt hesitates. She knows what the numbers say. She knows what science demands. She knows what ethics require. But fear speaks louder than logic. Fear of fallout. Fear of regret. Fear of losing what little control she has left. With trembling hands and a racing heart, Britt alters the DNA report, changing the name of the biological father. One keystroke. One choice. One irreversible sin. When the final document prints, Britt stares at it, knowing she has just rewritten a child's future. When Portia receives the results, she exhales for the first time in weeks. Relief floods her system as she reads the name Britt has placed before her. Tears fall, not of fear, but of gratitude. This changes everything, Portia whispers. Encouraging words pour out of her, words of hope, of gratitude, of renewed faith. She thanks Britt. She trusts Britt. And Britt smiles even as guilt coils tighter around her heart. This lie wears the face of comfort, but comfort bought with deception always comes due. Isaiah and Curtis, two men, one false reality. The altered results ripple outward immediately. One man steps forward, believing he is about to become a father. He begins imagining a future filled with first steps, midnight feedings, and second chances. The other man steps back, swallowing heartbreak he believes is necessary. He tells himself that maybe this is for the best, that fate has spoken. Neither man knows they are reacting to a lie. And Britt watches it all unfold, telling herself she did the right thing. In Port Charles, secrets don't stay buried forever. Small inconsistencies start to surface. Medical timelines don't align. Casual comments raise eyebrows. A look between two doctors lingers just a moment too long. Someone begins asking questions. And when questions appear, fear follows. Britt's encouraging lie begins to rot, replaced by paranoia. Every hallway feels watched. Every conversation sounds suspicious. She snaps when pressed, her tone sharp, her patience gone. What began as protection is now self-preservation. Angry threats begin to surface, subtle at first, then unmistakable. This ends now. You don't know what you're playing with. Let it go. But Port Charles never lets things go. Portia starts to feel it, a quiet, gnawing doubt she can't shake. Something feels off. The certainty she once clung to begins to slip through her fingers. She replays conversations. Reconsiders timelines. Questions details she once accepted without hesitation. A mother's intuition awakens, and it is relentless. Portia returns to the hospital, asking for clarification. She wants reassurance. She wants confirmation. What she doesn't realize is that every question tightens the noose around Britt's secret. The moment of truth draws near. Pressure mounts as another medical professional stumbles across discrepancies in the records. Nothing definitive, but enough to spark concern. Britt feels the walls closing in. She tries to justify herself one last time. I was helping. I was protecting her. No one needed to get hurt. But the truth doesn't care about intentions. The truth demands exposure. When Portia finally confronts Britt, the room is thick with tension. The air feels electric, charged with the weight of everything unsaid. Portia demands honesty. Britt hesitates, and that hesitation tells Portia everything. The confession, when it comes, is devastating. The DNA results were altered. The identity of the father was changed. Portia's trust was betrayed. Encouraging words turn to rage. Portia's grief erupts into fury, not just for herself, but for her unborn child, whose life was manipulated before it even began. Her voice shakes as she delivers words Britt will never forget. You don't get to decide my child's future. The fallout is immediate and brutal. Relationships fracture. Trust disintegrates. Legal ramifications loom. Professional consequences threaten to end Britt's career for good. The men affected by the lie are forced to confront not only the truth, but the emotional damage inflicted by believing something false. And Portia must now navigate pregnancy with the added burden of betrayal, baptized not by certainty, but by pain. Port Charles watches as the scandal unfolds. Some show compassion for Britt. Others demand accountability. All recognize that a line was crossed. This wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. And choices define who we become. Baptism by truth. This storyline is not about villains and heroes, it is about flawed people making desperate decisions. Britt's actions remind us that good intentions do not excuse unethical behavior. Portia's journey reminds us that truth, no matter how painful, is the only foundation strong enough to build a future on. Encouraging words must be rooted in honesty. Angry threats often mask fear. And baptism, true baptism, comes only through truth. As General Hospital moves forward, the consequences of Britt's decision will continue to unfold, shaping lives in ways no one anticipated. The truth is out. The lie is exposed. And Port Charles is forever changed. General Hospital spoilers update for the week of December reveals that Drew Kane and Willow Kane will have a run heft with Michael Corinthos while Carly Spencer and Nina Reeves have a showdown. First, Sonny Corinthos and Rick Lansing will press ADA Justine Turner to end Rocco Falconeri's legal agony. Jocelyn Jacks will also have a strategy session with Jack Brennan before Jason Morgan corners her coming. Jason may interrogate Jocelyn about the Five Poppies resort since Britt Westbourne won't unmask anything. Effects will get hot between Jocelyn and Jason, so he may advise about the continued WSB pitfalls and advise that Carly can't handle burying another child. Speaking of Carly, she'll have to keep playing the part of probative gal with Brennan while intimately hiding Valentine Cassadine in her garret. Charlotte Cassadine will ultimately make an admission, so she may give Lulu Spencer updates on Valentine communicating with her via that blue strip key. Lulu will unleash her fury once Charlotte comes clean and may wonder if Valentine has an abettor who delivered that key. Carly will have to be careful and cover her tracks if Valentine asks her to do anything differently. Over with Michael, he'll bump into Drew and Willow. That'll bring major pressure and could lead to some pitfalls getting tossed around. As for Nina, GH spoilers say she'll turn to someone within critical request. Since Nina will collect a favor, she may push Brennan to come through for Willow since he owes her one. Nina will ultimately cross paths with Carly, so that'll bring some hurled cuts and plenitude of conflict. There's always a showdown in the workshop whenever Carly and Nina are in the same room. Next, someone will listen in and make a stunning discovery as a result. This person will come privy to a secret, so stay tuned to see who'll overhear and what they'll do with this big news. Away, Isaiah Gannon will have an enticing offer for Portia Robinson to consider. Portia will feel overwhelmed by all the gestation drama and everything that's been going on with Curtis Ashford, but Isaiah will be her harborage in the storm. Hostage Anna Devane will also get a bit of a distraction, so a mystery or hint may keep her busy for a while. As for Harrison Chase, he'll arrest 2 people before the week's over. Could Michael and Jacinda Bracken pay the price for trying to vend that fake justification story? General Hospital spoilers say Jacinda and Michael's story could collapse sooner or laterally. Sonny Corinthos will demand that the charges be dropped while Emma Scorpio Drake calls out Britt Westbourne. Ned Quartermain will also make a concession, so let's talk about what's ahead on the ABC cleaner. At Carly Spencer's place, she'll dismiss the idea of leaving Valentine Cassadine unattended in her home. Still, Valentine will work to assure Carly and may move her he can stay out of trouble. Over with Jack Brennan and Jocelyn Jacks, they'll have a strategy session and pound over how to find Valentine before he causes any more chaos. At GH, Emma will call Britt out for putting on an act, but Britt may contend it's genuine if she's trying to be nice for formerly. Britt has been softening recently and might indeed be the person Emma gets some guidance from on Monday's show. Meanwhile, Sonny and Rick Lansing will have an important discussion with ADA Justine Turner. That'll bring Sonny's asseveration that the charges against Rocco Falconeri should be dropped, so he'll pressure Justine to make it be. As for Dante Falconeri, he'll entrust in Nathan West and worry he'll be the reason effects don't turn out how they want for Rocco. Nonetheless, Nathan will give Dante a vim talk and some good advice. With any luck, Rocco should get off the hook now that Professor Henry Hank Dalton isn't around to make false allegations. That said, Dalton's missing status has raised some red flags for Justine, who suspects Sonny might have had commodity to do with the professor going MIA. Sonny may face ADA Turner's questions as she spells out her proposition to him. Although Sonny didn't pull the detector on Dalton, he called Jason Morgan to take care of the body after it popped up in Laura Collins' box. Now Jen Sidwell has influence he's holding over Sonny and Laura, who'll be forced to meet with Sidwell on Monday's occasion. There'll be commodity Sidwell wants Laura to take credit for doing, so this may involve the trade of Sonny's peers. Sidwell might want Laura to hype this news in the media and make it feel like some amazing thing for Port Charles. At the Quartermain manse, Tracy Quartermain will be feeling rested and relaxed after a month down. Brooklyn Quartermain will hail Tracy, who'll find herself wondering where the rest of the family is. After Brooklyn gets uncomfortable and mentions giving Tracy roughly alone time with Ned, she'll hint about commodity Ned needs to partake. Tracy will grow decreasingly suspicious, especially when Ned pops up and acts just as weird as Brooklyn. Tracy will push for updates, so Ned will confess he'd a health dread while she was off hanging out at the gym in France. Ned will try to play down it, but Tracy will flip out when she learns he'd a heart attack while the family left her in the dark. General Hospital spoilers say Tracy will rage over the secretiveness, so stay tuned for Ned's sweats to calm her down. Sidwell blackmailed Sonny, Carly was surprised by a shocking visit, and Laura was visited by several blasts from the past. Jason helped Britt into her apartment because she was too drunk to serve duly. She told him he did not have to stay there, but she collapsed into his arms. He promised not to leave her in the compromising condition he'd witnessed. Britt's phone kept ringing, and she demanded sequestration, so she ordered him to remain in the hall. He agreed to stand in the hall, so she closed the door in his face to see what the alert was. Still, it was for her night drug, which she instantly ignored. Jason heard Britt fall to the bottom, so he contended back in to help her. She broke down into a full crying fit, and he walked her back to her bed. Jason presented her with the drug and asked for the cure so he could help her take it. She was far too shaky and unsteady to fit the drug, so Jason had to administer it. After he put Britt into her bed, he set himself up in her presence so he could watch over her. Jocelyn returned to her apartment, and it woke Trina over, because she was lurking in the dark to avoid interposing her and Kai. Jocelyn said Thanksgiving was crazy between her, Jack, and Carly, and although she tried to make a quick escape, Trina encouraged her to stay. She revealed that she lately slept with Vaughn, but Trina did not see the issue. Still, she had not heard from him since their association passed. Jocelyn entered a textbook from Jack demanding her presence in his office, so she made up a story and took off. Kai asked Trina how FAKED went with Jocelyn, and despite whatever Jocelyn was going through, Trina was inversely stressed out. She believed everything was better with Kai by her side, especially the ongoing saga involving Curtis and Portia's implicit involvement in Drew's firing. Carly was pleased with the easy remittal from a small Thanksgiving. He asked her if she was doing okay, and he wondered if he would done commodity to make her vacation less special. He recalled how she had a house full of people the previous time, so a lot had changed in Carly's life. Jack bothered that he was the reason there were so many people present for the vacation. Carly assured him that was not the case, it was just everyone being busy. Jack wanted to ensure that he would no way force any issues between her and the rest of her favored bones. The biggest chain was Jason, who went out of his way to avoid Jack at all costs. He wondered who could have been missing from the fests that had Carly in a depression. She revealed that it was her family, Lucas, but she placed the blame on herself because he decided not to show. Carly held off on apologizing to her family for her former grievances against his particular life. She bothered she had gone too far and pushed him indeed further down. As much as Jack wished he could stay with Carly, work called him down. She understood that his work supplanted the vacation, so she agreed to let him leave. Carly kept her countenance until Jack left, but once she was gone, she broke down and recalled her visit to Valentine. Lucas saluted Felicia at the sanitarium, and she told him she had visited Maxie at the clinic. Felicia was thankful that Lucas helped her pick out the installation for her son's long-term care. He encouraged her to hold on to stopgap because no change in her condition was a good thing. Carly dropped by the sanitarium and expressed her stopgap that Maxie would get well soon. Lucas was visibly uncomfortable at his family's appearance, but Felicia noticed and left them to it. Carly offered her family a leftover piece of pie, but he declined. She tried to defend her conduct, but it was not helpful because he felt betrayed. Still, Lucas was glad that Carly spoke her mind because now he understood how she truly felt about his relationship. Carly bothered that Marco was another illustration of the person he loved lying to him and ultimately hurting him. Lucas admitted that his relationship with Brad was a disaster, but he did not feel the same about Marco. He refused to fight with Carly, knowing he could not move his family to support his relationship. What he did need was her acceptance that he was not going anywhere. He demanded space between them, and she turned that into reality. Felicia returned after Carly left and gave a speech about Bobby's capacity for remission, encouraging him not to give up on his family. Sidwell stopped by Sonny's house, and his guards verified that he was not fortified. He wanted to clarify effects before Sonny decided to take him out. He assumed Sonny wondered the reason for his late-night vacation visit, but first, he went through a list of reasons Sonny had to kill him. He handed Sonny the drone print of him and Laura standing in front of her box with Dalton's body outside. Sonny joked that the print was vague, but Sidwell knew he could be placed at the crime scene by Nathan. Sidwell refocused out how the picture showcased a conspiracy to commit murder, but there was no physical substantiation tying them to the murder. Sidwell saved Sonny the trouble of wondering what he wanted, so he cut to the chase. He wanted the peers, and he needed Sonny's complete cooperation. It did not make sense to Sonny to vend the peers to Sidwell after their largely public dissensions over the property. Sidwell tried to explain it down, and he told them that the prints and the gun would be delivered to the police with Laura's DNA on it if they took out him or Marco. Sonny hovered to leave the country to shirk law enforcement, but Sidwell knew he would betray Laura. After Sidwell left, Sonny's phone chimed, and it was Laura filling him in on the blackmail, ignorant that he formerly knew. Laura entered a knock at the door, and it was Cyrus, putatively hanging Laura in his dreams. She did not suppose it was possible because he was dead, but he told her he'd decided to show up to gift her the murder armament that killed Dalton. He encouraged her to turn herself in to the police and confess to the murder. Cyrus told Laura that she had nothing to sweat if she had nothing to hide. He prompted her to take responsibility, and Esme appeared on the staircase, demanding the same. Esme claimed that Ace was not in his bedroom because Laura was unfit to take care of him. Cyrus was pleased that he and his family were a lot likewise, and refocused at Laura, who noticed the murder armament in her hand. Still, she woke up, realizing it was nothing further than a vicious agony. Kevin returned home, and she told him everything about Sidwell's visit and the print substantiation. Kevin was agonized that his woman was going through these extreme situations of stress. She told him about the agony involving Cyrus and Esme, and he explained that her subconscious was manifesting in her dream state. She had a lot to consider about coming forward. Laura bothered about what would be to Ace if she turned herself in and could not prove her innocence. Still, there were other factors to consider. There was no way to explain herself to the police without entwining Sonny, and the PCPD would have a delicate time believing he was not shamefaced. Kevin bothered that Laura would be left with a massive burden, but she was certain that she was not the only one being blackmailed. Laura honored that Sidwell would do the same to Sonny, and his demands for him would be far worse. Jack brazened Jocelyn about giving Emma and Gio the address to Dalton's alternate lab. Still, she defended the decision to cover the suffering creatures. Jack indicted her of violating protocol and hovered to have her transferred for continuing her relationship with Vaughn in secret. He explained that Vaughn was ordered not to communicate her again and that he'd ordered her to keep it that way, or she would be transferred out of the country. He started to explain why she had not been transferred down yet, and she responded with, "Because you are sleeping with my mama." Jack and Jocelyn argued over whether the secrets she blurted about her family had anything to do with public security. She knew that they demanded to get their hands on the technology that Sidwell had. Jocelyn believed that it was to destroy it, but he claimed that they would use it for themselves. He told her everything was classified, and she argued that the secretiveness was mischievous to her job. Jack got a call, and he shocked at whatever he heard. Carly was shown at home, alone, and the moment she turned around, it was Valentine, lately escaped from captivity. Port Charles stands on the edge of reckoning as the week unfolds, bringing whispered encouragement, explosive confrontations, and threats sharp enough to cut through families, friendships, and fragile alliances. This is not a gentle cleansing. This is a baptism by fire, where secrets are exposed, loyalties are tested, and every character must face the truth they've been running from. From legal nightmares to romantic collisions, from hidden fugitives to blackmail schemes that could topple the city's power structure, General Hospital barrels into December with relentless intensity. Pressure at the courthouse, Sonny and Rick make their move. The week opens with Sonny Corinthos and Rick Lansing standing shoulder to shoulder, united by one mission, ending Rocco Falconeri's legal nightmare. They apply relentless pressure on ADA Justine Turner, insisting the charges must be dropped, now. Sonny's tone is calm but unmistakably firm, the kind of calm that carries an unspoken warning. Rick backs him up with razor-sharp legal arguments, pointing out the shaky foundation of the case now that Professor Hank Dalton has conveniently vanished. Justine listens, but her eyes betray suspicion. Dalton's disappearance troubles her, and she isn't blind to Sonny's history. Though she may concede on Rocco's case, she makes it clear she isn't done asking questions, especially about where Dalton ended up and who helped make him disappear. Encouraging words are offered to Dante Falconeri, who fears his own actions may sabotage his son's freedom. Nathan West becomes Dante's anchor, delivering reassurance and reminding him that protecting Rocco doesn't make him weak, it makes him a father. Jocelyn caught in the crossfire. Across town, Jocelyn Jacks finds herself pulled deeper into dangerous waters. She meets with Jack Brennan for a strategy session, carefully weighing every word as they discuss how to locate Valentine Cassadine before he ignites more chaos. But Jocelyn's balancing act shatters when Jason Morgan corners her. Jason's questions are direct and unsettling, especially when the Five Poppies resort comes up. Britt Westbourne refuses to talk, which only heightens Jason's suspicions. He presses Jocelyn hard, and tempers flare as she pushes back, refusing to be intimidated. That's when Jason delivers a warning that lands like a punch to the chest. The WSB dangers are far from over. Carly has already buried one child. She cannot survive losing another. The words hang heavy between them, encouraging in their intent, terrifying in their implication. Carly's double life, love above, lies in the attic. Carly Spencer continues to walk a razor-thin line, playing the devoted girlfriend to Jack Brennan while secretly hiding Valentine Cassadine in her attic. She dismisses any suggestion of leaving Valentine unattended, fully aware that one wrong move could destroy everything. Valentine, for his part, works overtime to reassure Carly, insisting he can stay quiet, stay hidden, and stay out of trouble. But Valentine Cassadine has never been good at staying invisible. Charlotte Cassadine soon makes a confession that sends shockwaves through the family. She admits to Lulu Spencer that Valentine has been communicating with her, using that unmistakable blue-ribboned key as a lifeline. Lulu's fury explodes. She demands to know who helped Valentine. Who delivered the key? Who betrayed her trust? Carly realizes the walls are closing in. If Valentine asks her for even one more favor, she'll have to decide just how far she's willing to go, and who she's willing to sacrifice. Michael, Drew, and Willow, a collision course. Elsewhere, Michael Corinthos collides head-on with Drew Kane and Willow Kane in an encounter thick with unresolved bitterness. The air crackles with tension as old wounds reopen. Accusations fly. Lines are drawn. Threats, thinly veiled and emotionally charged, are tossed back and forth. Michael refuses to back down. Drew refuses to yield. Willow stands caught between past loyalties and present realities, knowing that no matter what happens, someone will be hurt. This is no ordinary run-in. This is the calm before a storm. Nina and Carly, inevitable war. Nina Reeves finds herself desperate enough to call in a favor, one she fully intends to collect. She turns to Jack Brennan with an urgent request, reminding him that he owes her. Her goal is clear: protect Willow at any cost. Soon enough, Nina crosses paths with Carly Spencer, and the explosion is inevitable. Insults fly like shrapnel. Old grudges resurface. Every shared history, every betrayal, every unforgiven sin comes roaring back to life. Whenever Carly and Nina share the same air, peace doesn't stand a chance. Secrets overheard, fates altered. Somewhere in Port Charles, an unseen listener overhears a conversation they were never meant to hear, and stumbles upon a secret powerful enough to change everything. This eavesdropper doesn't just learn information. They gain leverage. What they choose to do with it will ripple through the city like a shockwave. Portia's storm and Isaiah's offer. Portia Robinson is drowning in emotional chaos, pregnancy fears, Curtis Ashford's legal trouble, and a future that feels increasingly uncertain. Enter Isaiah Gannon. With calm words and a steady presence, Isaiah offers Portia a proposal that promises stability when she needs it most. He becomes her shelter in the storm, even as Portia struggles with guilt, fear, and unanswered questions. Encouraging words help her breathe again, but they don't erase the storm clouds gathering overhead. Anna Devane, distraction in captivity. Held hostage and isolated, Anna Devane receives a strange distraction, a riddle, a hint, a puzzle designed to occupy her mind. Anna knows better than to dismiss it. Every distraction is a message. Every message is a clue. She listens. She observes. She waits. Arrests, collapses, and consequences. Harrison Chase makes his move before the week is over, arresting 2 individuals and sending shockwaves through Port Charles. Could Michael and Jacinda Bracken finally pay the price for their collapsing fake alibi scheme? The cracks are showing, and the truth is clawing its way to the surface. Meanwhile, Emma Scorpio Drake calls Britt Westbourne out, accusing her of putting on an act. Britt insists her kindness is real, perhaps for the first time in a long while, and may unexpectedly become a source of guidance. Ned's confession and Tracy's rage. At the Quartermaine mansion, Tracy Quartermaine returns from her luxurious retreat only to sense something is terribly wrong. Brooke Lynn's discomfort sets off alarms. Ned's strange behavior confirms them. Under pressure, Ned finally confesses he suffered a heart attack while Tracy was away. Her reaction is volcanic. Tracy rages, not just over the health scare, but over the secrecy. Over being left in the dark. Over the family deciding what she could and couldn't handle. Ned scrambles to calm her, knowing this confession may have fractured something that can't easily be repaired. Sidwell's blackmail, power grabs and dead bodies. The week crescendos with Sidwell paying Sonny Corinthos a chilling visit. His guards confirm he's unarmed, but the weapon he carries is far more dangerous. Photographic evidence. A drone image showing Sonny and Laura Collins standing at Laura's trunk, with Hank Dalton's body inside. Sidwell lays it out plainly: conspiracy, leverage, silence, for now. What does he want? The peers. Sonny is stunned. Selling the peers to Sidwell defies logic, especially after their public clashes over the property. But logic means nothing when blackmail enters the room. Sidwell doesn't ask. He demands. This week on General Hospital is not about comfort, it's about consequence. Encouraging words are offered to steady shaking souls. Angry threats are hurled when fear takes control. Secrets are overheard, lies unravel, and Port Charles is baptized once more, not in forgiveness, but in truth. And as always, the truth changes everything.